Hello everyone and welcome to today's iRacing video. We're here again at the gorgeous Phillip Island Raceway Circuit in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. You're about to get underway on our full course formation lap, and then we're going to get underway.
40 minutes. The air temp is 19 Celsius.
Just about to get underway, and we'll do a formal intro then.
Follow car number 9.
So just as we get underway here, guys, if you do enjoy the content you're about to see, please consider giving a like, a subscribe, and a comment. Also, feel free to check out my Twitter in the comment.
Car number 9.
In the description down below, I've got a link to my Twitter channel, just a way to keep you guys up to date with what's going on the channel. As well as I'm editing videos, I like to give the video is going to go live in 12 hours. Feel free to check back in then. I'll usually do a secondary tweet with the link to the video directly over to YouTube. So feel free to check that one there out if you would like. So it's here Saturday evening in Canberra, Australia, doing the 10 PM race, the last race of the day for me. I did do the 8 PM race, however, was pretty well ruined at the whatever this after the corner after the hairpin, really, the left-hander. I accidentally tapped the Ferrari ahead of me due to a slight braking error at my end, and he then thought it would be a adequate. Keep in mind, he didn't drop the track. We got a 0x contact, so no one was really penalised by this. He thought the real penalty that should be paid is I should be clear as day punted off into the sand trap just there. Got the meatball flag, had to come in for about 13-14 minutes of repair, and then I think I managed to salvage that back to like a 19th or 20th place finish. Took a bit of a hit to the safety rating, took a bit of a hit to the I rating. However, at least got to finish the race, which is always good, but I didn't record it because it was pretty well a quarter of the race just focused to me sitting in the pits not doing a great deal. So yeah, that being said, Adam just ahead of us in the blue and silver shell Ferrari, blue and yellow, sorry, my apologies. Ferrari was in that race and he was quite good as well as Alan, the guy that's up in pole position, was in that race as well, and they were both pretty rapid. So I was able to set a qualifying lap time in the low 129s, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like a 29.4, 29.3, and that got me up into P7. So here we go.
Floor it.
And we are underway. Just going to focus on getting these tyres up to temperature.
Car left. Still there. Clear left.
Focus on getting these tyres up to temperature and staying out of trouble.
Okay, Oliver. Decent start. We can build something from here.
Oh.
Yellow flag.
You could see that one there coming from a mile away with the way that Audi, sorry, didn't mean to butt my mic. Could see that coming a mile away with the way that Audi was going. He was, for whatever reason, going offensive whilst in a defensive position, which is mind-boggling to say the least. Like, he's quite clearly a quick car, don't get me wrong, but no point having a quick car and being a quick racer if you crash every single person off the track. That's why going into turn 2, I didn't really want to fight him too much for that position, because it was quite clear that if I didn't give it up, he was just going to forfeit my race on his behalf. So I hope everyone's week's going great. Been a good week for racing for me, although you guys have only seen one video. I've done a little bit of racing behind the scenes and really just sharpening my skills around this track, so
keep it coming, man. This
hopefully
is great. P5.
the next time this track comes up I can kind of be competitive from the first race of the week, as opposed to taking a little bit of time to come up to speed with it. I do feel bad for that that car that got spun directly in front of me due to Rory. That was a really, really bad overtaking maneuver. And I did mention that I was considering potentially giving oval racing a go, and literally the next day the next gen NASCARs got announced. So I think that's just really lit the fire underneath me and makes me really want to give that a shot so I can get up the license ranks and give those cars a crack, because they look pretty damn cool. In terms of NASCAR and the Cup Series, I've always been a Martin Truex fan, the car number 19. I think this year it's Bass Pro Shop liveried car, Toyota Camry. I think that'd be where I'd start with it if I were to give it a crack, but really am enjoying it. Enjoying the idea of potentially giving that a shot.
The leader has just done a 128.49.
In other motorsport news, right as I'm recording this, final practice 3 has just finished at the Catalunya track.
That last lap was a 131.32.
It's not really the most exciting race on the Grand Prix calendar. It's a pretty boring track, to be perfectly frank, and it's really not conducive to really good overtaking and stuff like that. And I did hear Crofty and a few of the other commentators discussing it, and it really isn't that good a track for overtaking. It's kind of
P5.
just, and I think, I don't know the stat, but in the practice they were discussing the majority of race winners are off the front row of the grid, just the way that the track allows itself. But that being said, we haven't really seen it with this new asphalted corner there over the back straight, so it'll be interesting to see how cars go through there, if the change in the tarmac or grip levels has any effect on racing, if it becomes a better overtaking opportunity potentially. But again, I think Max Verstappen headed out final practice 3 leading into qualifying, so hopefully he can carry that through and we have an interesting race.
The gap behind is now 1.3 seconds.
As much as Verstappen isn't my favourite race car driver in the world,
The leader's just done a 128.
he is putting up a very valiant fight against the Mercedes this year, and it is giving us some exciting racing to watch, which is pretty good.
That's your quickest lap in this session.
Which is more than we've gotten in the last few seasons. It's kind of just been a runaway freight train from kind of round 1. And also in other news, the V8 Supercars race today at the Bend. Andre Heimgartner, I believe, took the win. Chaz Mostert in 3rd, and I think Anton De Pasquale took 3rd in the Shell V-Power Mustang. It's good to see Chaz, one of my favourite drivers, do really well, fresh off his win in the last race as well, and then a 2nd place in the rain today at the Bend was a good effort. Yeah, I think Van Gisbergen got very unlucky with the pit stop that he had. He got held up due to the I think it's like the air jack line just didn't reach his car where he stopped in the box. It was either a Van Gisbergen error or an error at the pit crew end. However, that cost him a lot of time. Was able to recover up to 6th or 7th, I believe. I think Van Gisbergen's pretty damn untouchable though this year with the way he's driving that ZB Commodore at the moment. Like, to come back from a broken collarbone to still race and win pretty convincingly in the 2nd round of the championship is pretty damn special.
130.95.
It's pretty sad though, seeing that the V8 supercars are going to be no longer the V8 supercars. They're going to a V6 twin turbo hybrid, I believe, with the new gen cars coming out. So it's a bit sad, but I'm sure it'll still be exciting. I'm pretty sure they have more power anyway, these new gen cars. I think they're meant to be touted to have way more torque and way more power So I'm sure it'll make the racing more exciting. In the last race I did, obviously due to the penalties, the race before that, my apologies, I did attempt to do an early stopper, like 5 laps in, put myself all the way at the back of the grid and just try to stay out of trouble. However, what I found was, given that this track is a minute 30, you lose about that 30-40 seconds in the pit. It really does put you on.
That's your quickest so far.
Under a lot of pressure, and it really didn't put me out in clear air, and I found that pushing later into the race to do my stop just inherently put me in. Like, if I could be the last person to go in the pit, I've got that free track to kind of just focus on putting in quali or near enough quali lap times and just focus on racing my race.
Okay, Oliver. Our refueling window will open after 17 minutes and closes after 29 minutes.
Pretty sure I just saw Rory sitting off in the sandbanks, which is pretty well where I expected to see him, considering how he was racing earlier in the race. Like, if you do race that aggressively, like, and there's nothing wrong with it if it's your style, when you do make a mistake, it makes it incredibly difficult to account for them and make sure you can fix them and correct for them and allow for them before things go real bad for you. So Matt has jumped in the pits very early, lap 6. I think this is where I jumped in that one there, where I did attempt to do an earlier stint. And for someone that inherently has better pace,
good consistency, keep them coming.
That might be the play. Like, if you're a front runner and almost not undercutting yourself, but undercutting, getting your fuel stop out of the way and just focusing on 30-40 minutes of really consistent driving and really consistent racing might be the way to go, if you can just stay in clear air and not focus about defending like I am against Todd here behind. However, for me, the skill level I'm at and the way I drive, it's just not conducive. And I'm not sure if it is just me, but I believe Adam may have made a slight mistake in that.
You're pulling away from the guy behind. The gap's now.
May have something to do with the off with Rory, but I think more likely than not, that off with Rory had something to do with that back marker car, based on the fact that he was pulled over onto the side of the track there on that full throttle kink. And as soon as I went past, he like exited to pits. But I might be wrong, it might involve all 3 of them, who knows. But that also might just be in my head that I think I'm catching Adam. It might be wishful thinking. 10 minutes down, 30 odd to go. Just got to stay really good, real consistent. Todd has dropped off ever so slightly, a few tenths of a second.
Sector 1 is 0.47 off the pace. Sector 2 is 0.6 off the pace. Sector 3 is 0.7 off the pace.
So, I do also have some confessions to make. In some of my videos last week at Road America, I was adamant that we were going to Okayama, sorry, and I was obviously very wrong, because we are now racing at Phillip Island. However, next week we are at Okayama Raceway, which I am excited for, because it is a track I'm a little bit more familiar with. I've raced it through the MX-5 Cup Series, through the Skippies. I have raced it in the Porsche GT Cup Series as well, so I've never raced it in the Lambo. However, I do know that track a little bit better, the configurations everything like that. So hopefully on a track that I do know, I can excel a little bit more, a little bit less of a learning curve in terms of muscle memory with the track. And having raced it in the Porsche that doesn't have traction control, doesn't have ABS, to then jump into car that does have traction control and ABS, I should be able to push it a touch harder, seeing as I know the tracks, the layouts, etc. But we'll just have to wait and see. Knowing my luck, because I've just given myself the curse of the commentator, we're going to get there and I'm going to have 7 or 8 shocking races and my safety ratings are going to be back in the trash again, and I'll have to work back up and do it again. We're also heading to Circuit of the Americas as well as Spa, the endurance pit lane variant, so like the 24 hours of Spa race 1. So that'll be a pretty exciting way to wrap down season 2, and we're already getting into season 3. So next season will be my first full season in the VRS on YouTube, that is, as I did do the first 2 or 3 races off YouTube this year, this season, as I did get my YouTube channel set up and all the different recording softwares and everything. I actually think somewhere on a hard drive hidden away I do have footage from those first few weeks. However, they were more just trials to get like configurations and like audio levels and everything like that, but maybe one day they'll go into a compilation that might make it to YouTube. And I say might because chances are it will not.
Alright, Oliver, don't let this guy distract you. P4, that lap was a 131.03.
Oh, second gear was definitely not the right call through there. So yeah, Todd, I think is pretty well on par with our levels of pace. However, I feel in certain sections of the track that Ferrari might be a little bit better, and then in potentially the more faster, flowy kind of sections, the Lambo might be the better choice, which is always a good indication of balance of performance, which is like pretty much the artificial or iRacing way of just balancing out R's, so all of them get a pretty good usage amongst the driver base. So to have a car like the Ferrari that I know has a really good top end speed, so on your tracks like Spa, Le Mans, Nürburgring, the Ferrari kills it. But then to have something like the Lamborghini, the R8, that are mere mid-engine all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive cars that are a little bit better through those long, sweeping kind of where you want a car kind of planted and you need that overall good corner speed. It is good to see that, and a track like Phillip Island can obviously exaggerate the weakness of every car, and if a car's not balanced right, as well as if a driver's not balanced correctly. However, it is good to see that a track like Phillip Island that does have these corners that are short, sharp, as well as have maybe not super long straights, but that front pit straight is still very long, and it's a very quick right-hander into turn 1, but it really does eke out each car's weaknesses and strong points, which is good because you, like, even the Mercs are quite strong here. I know the Audis are very strong, but the Audis are very strong everywhere. And then the Ferraris are quite strong everywhere as well. I think the Audi and the Ferrari do tend to be pretty much the most common cars used in the GT Sprint. I'm pretty sure the GT Endurance series as well. The BMW and the Lamborghini do have a cult following, more so because they were the newest additions to iRacing. So the Lamborghini came out when Long Beach came out, I believe, which wasn't start of season 2, was start of season 1 maybe. or just before. And then the BMW, which technically doesn't even exist in real life yet, as in it doesn't physically race in any series just yet. It's due to come out end of 2021 for the racing series, but it obviously is out in dealerships at the moment. The racing spec is just a prototype in iRacing. It physically doesn't exist yet in a racing spec. I wasn't sure if that for a...
Car right. Clear right.
was going to launch it up the inside there, so that's why I was like, oh, he's kind of setting me up.
Car left. Clear left.
He was kind of setting me up.
Come on, Oliver. Don't let him get away.
But that didn't... kind of forced the issue down after that hairpin. I know I did kind of give him an option there, but he switched back on me, sent it up the inside when that corner isn't really an overtaking opportunity unless the person you're racing against really made a big mistake going into that hairpin, like out of that hairpin. So, oh well.
P5.
Very lucky to get away with only a 0x there, and got a bit better run out of this corner than he did. So if I do have little pauses of 30-40 seconds of silence, it's just because Todd has been quite respectful, even though the overtaking was kind of a forced issue. I want to make sure that I don't make a silly mistake that prematurely ends his race, ends my race, causes us to have any unnecessary damage, as well as lose out too much time to Marcel and Dennis. I think if I'd put too much more steering lock into that car through that corner through that main straight as I adjusted, I think that would have been my race over, because I felt the back of the car start to get a bit unsettled.
That's 20 minutes to go. Okay, Oliver, that's half distance.
So we definitely come out of turn one much, much quicker than Todd.
Left side. Clear left.
And that was pretty well 100% my fault. And yeah. So we got very lucky that I think Marcel and whoever he was racing against, the orange BMW, it looked like in my rearview mirror, maybe had a coming together or something like that. Because I only lost one position. It was still very stupid of me, even though I had just given you guys a 30-second spiel on how I was endeavouring to do my best to not do what I just did.
The gap to Stewart behind is increasing. It's now 2.1 seconds. 6th place.
Hopefully we can catch up to Joe. Kind of was Joe. 11. . get my head back in the game now and just focus back in. We're about 8 or 9 minutes away from the pit stop, and then we're on the home stretch. Gap's looking pretty consistent, and over the course of that lap, although I did make the mistake into the hairpin, haven't really been able to close up to him since then. I did drop 2 or 3 tenths of a second through the final sector, but well,
Okay, Oliver, you're reeling. Angel in. The gap is now 3.1 seconds.
let's just see how this goes, because if Angel and Joe one of the other big characteristics is how these cars handle on minimal fuel runs or low fuel runs, because it all depends on like the balance of the car, and that all depends on like geometries of suspensions as well as positionings and orientations over the axles of like the engines and everything like that. Like that stuff does make a big difference. And I think that's one of the things that I do really like about the Lamborghini is the characteristics change. Yes, like it feels a lot more lively, but on a low fuel run,
That's your best lap in the session. 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
it doesn't
5 minutes.
change. Like it doesn't become completely undrivable like a brand new car. You can really wring the neck of it when it is on a low fuel run, and it's a very light, lively car, but it also doesn't become snap oversteer or understeer or anything like that, which is a good thing. It's a very, in my opinion,
Relax, focus, keep it smooth. 15 minutes left.
to get into this car, like it's obviously extremely difficult to get the most out of any of these cars because they are such purpose-built machines. But it also isn't like the Porsches where even when you are familiar with them,
Yellow flag.
let's see if we can get a run onto Adam through. Don't think it's going to happen.
Yellow flag, caution.
I believe Jordan was in the last race as well. Matt Hickman was as well. So I guess it's not really a massive surprise probably to you guys watching, but it is interesting seeing people that do race after race which at the moment I'm trying my best to do as well. I'm trying to get as many races as I can in the sim just so I can improve.
P6.
Just so I can improve and get better, even if it's marginally, even if it's a few percent every single race. that's what I will do, and that's what I need to do. If for me to get to my end goal is to set X lap time or to be at X driver rating, etc., etc., I need to put in the time, and it's going to be a very long process, but I'm willing to make that commitment.
That lap time was 1:30.81. We're running on fumes, mate. Box this lap, please, Oliver.
In this lap.
The gap in front is now 1.6.
See, when I've got the right lighting,
Cars pitting.
my braking point is really easy to spot. It's where you start seeing the text, which I know is a really bad braking point to have because you can't spot it consistently. However, the first few races I did, it was
2 litres remaining.
oh, that was real bad, and that was Joe. I think we're all going into the pits now, unless a few people have saved fuel. Oh no.
Look out for the pit speed limit. Pit lane speed limit is 72 kilometres per hour. We'll fuel you to the end of the race.
So we've got Todd here.
Angel behind is pitting now.
Todd will get out considerably ahead of me, I think. Yeah, there we go.
There's traffic behind. Watch your mirrors.
Have we gotten the message saying 10 to go? Nope, we're about to in 10 seconds. So Dennis hasn't pitted, but Dennis was effectively behind us, I'm pretty sure.
10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
Adam hasn't pitted either, but he was ever so slightly just ahead of us. So curious to see how that plays out. He must have been fuel saving massively after he had his little accident there. Maybe that's why I was able to close up on him as much as I was. Would also be that the Ferrari, the way he's got it set up, is a little bit more kind to the fuel.
The gap to Stewart behind is increasing. It's now 2.5 seconds.
I still can't believe that Angel came straight back across the track in the manner that he did. It really could have resulted in my race.
Stewart behind is pitting.
Good and well being over. Oh. So, Cameron Cousins is back marker. He should hopefully let me through, but always stresses me out. Not only when approaching the blue flag, but approaching a jumping around blue flag. Especially over a blind rise like that, the last thing you want to do is to go around that corner at full speed and have him meet you on the other side, smack bang in the middle of the road.
P5.
So Dennis eked his stint out.
All right, Oliver.
On your right. Clear right.
So that was getting painfully close for my liking, and it did just feel like he really could have given me a little bit more room or wiped off the throttle, because I could have used that extra bit of track. That being said, he slowed Dennis down, so it's probably fair that I got a bit of a slowdown as well. Because that is unfortunately when silly mistakes happen, is when you do have a back marker that is affecting your race. And you are realistically trying to do everything in your power to make sure not only you get past the back marker in a safe manner, but you also don't concede a position late in the race.
The gap in front has increased to 1.7.
Matt Hickman is really not making it easy for Todd.
That was a 130.58.
A little bit too late on the brakes. I could also understand Hickman's position as well if he was racing for like P18 and 20, like in terms of his back marker position, but there is quite literally
5 minutes. Okay, Oliver.
Nobody.
Don't think about the lap times. Just hit each and every apex.
Nobody around him. He should realistically just be putt-putting towards the end of the race. Be late initiation into that corner is not a bad shout.
On your left. Hold your line. Clear left.
Oh. The real sad thing is there's a battle only about a second up the road that I'd really love to be a part of, but I don't think it's going to be possible.
Push. We can get this guy.
See that going absolutely horribly. They're racing far too well. It's good racing, don't get me wrong. It's great watching it from my perspective here when there's a little bit more security, and I'm sure if you're in the situation you're going to be fighting tooth and nail for it, but they're fighting for the last step on the podium here, so
5.1.
I could understand why you may be inclined to take a risk here or there. But still, we are also fighting for bottom split, so...
The lap time was 130.43.
take with that information as you will.
P5. Okay, Oliver. 5 minutes of fuel remaining. 5 minutes.
I think Dennis might be setting up to have one good push on the next lap in case it is a white flag.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes.
And given the nature of the track here, it's not really conducive for overtaking. If he can get past onto that next lap, it makes it extremely difficult for Dennis to get back ahead. And this back marker is really not helping the situation.
Right side. Clear right.
Not white flag, so we get 2 more laps of action. Oh, that'll be freaking Dennis out bad. I actually don't know what happens if you do collide with someone whilst they're jumping all over the place. Like if two entities try to take up the same bit of track, what does iRacing do? Does it have a bit of a moment, or does it kind of like, oh well, you technically don't exist? Like, does the car that's jumping all over the shop technically not exist in the eyes of the game? You saw that one there coming from a mile away. You saw that one coming from an absolute mile away. You could just tell.
Okay, Oliver, 1 more to go. Keep it together, we'll be on the podium. P3, very little fuel left.
Like, that last corner through there is a one-line corner if you're going to take it flat stick, which both of them were, because we're both on light fuel. Oh, both of them were on light fuel, my apologies. Tyres you would think that are more or less completely up to temperature, like you don't have to worry about like locking them up, and because they're under temp or whatever, just sliding you off. But I could completely understand where that was going, and potentially, I can't remember, I think Todd was
That's 2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Was the person in third place. However, I could understand how potentially if you didn't have a spotter on or something like that, you may think, oh, I'm in the clear, like I'm right to pull across now, but unfortunately not, and you get magnetized together and pretty well ruins your race and someone else's. And after 40 minutes, I can tell you right now, after having done it, even in the first video you guys saw here at Phillip Island, to go from one position to two or three positions lower down, it sucks. But that is a third place. That is the first recorded podium on the channel.
Great drive.
That is honestly, I'm super stoked about that. I may not be showing it because I'm just trying to stay super calm, because it's 11 PM on a Saturday night. My apartment complex may not appreciate me screaming at the top of my lungs, but I'm really psyched up about that result. Just kept our nose out of trouble apart from that small mistake with Todd at the start of the race. But I am extremely happy with myself, and I'm extremely happy with with that race. And if we don't end up getting another race here at Phillip Island this weekend, at least I know that my last race I showed massive improvement, and we had a massive race, and I'm really excited to get this one up for you guys. It's honestly awesome. So what I'm going to do here, guys, as I come around the final corner, I'm going to chuck it in the pits. We're gonna end this one by looking over the results. One thing you guys may have noticed in the last few videos as well, in the top right hand of your guys' video, I've got another scene running concurrently with my actual in-game footage. That's just from like TV cam, so it's just to show like a different kind of angle with what's going on and everything like that. And I didn't account for running out of fuel, but what we're going to do is we're going to park it right here because we're not going to get to the pits. But guys, we're going to get into the results and we'll go from there. So what we're going to do here, guys, we're just going to quickly get into the results. So as you can see, 10 PM race, May the 8th. So 5 splits, we were lowest. I don't care, I'm still super happy with it. So strength of field 905, had a massive safety rating increase of 0.25, which is honestly amazing. Had a safety rating increase of 73, which I think to this day might be the highest I rating increase I've ever had. 0 leads. Alan, again, he's an absolute freak. I saw him in a few other races and he just led start to finish, and he was a 1.5 seconds quicker than myself, as well as 0.3 of a second quicker than the guy in second place. Reese from Australia locked it out on the second place with the AMG. Myself, third place on third step on the podium, which is honestly really good after having started in car number 12, but I can't remember where I let's see if it tells me. So starting in P7, so 4th position gain, which is honestly awesome. We then have Adam, Todd, and Michael, the next 3 after me. We had a good representation from Australia here, which is honestly awesome. So yeah, guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, please consider giving a like, a subscribe. Check out the Twitter in the bottom. This one here will probably go up Sunday, Monday, Australia at some point. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, which may or may not be one more Phillip Island race, or it will be Okayama, which will be very exciting. So we'll catch you in the next one, guys. See ya.